Have 4 of our 7 board members present. So let us begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And for your information, the words "under God" were added in 1954.
Yes,
I said that 2 weeks ago.
You were guessing. I think you said 52, 56. Nobody ever said 54.
I know, 54.
But they were added at the height of the communist scare in the United States during the McCarthy era, when Senator McCarthy was trying to call everyone a communist. So that's when they added the words "under God." And that was the reason.
Ryan said all that.
I swear I did. I
Yeah.
cannot tell a lie.
You better move over, Terry. You're going to get struck by something.
I know, right?
I would like a motion to approve the agenda, please.
So moved.
Seconded.
Okay, a motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, raise your right hand. Okay, all oppose. It's 4-0, and off we go. We have a consent agenda, which you have had time to look at. Are there any, well, let's have a motion and a second, and then if there are any questions, or is there anything you need to remove from that consent agenda for further discussion? If not.
I make a motion we approve the consent agenda as
Second.
presented.
Okay, is there any discussion? If not, all in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign, 4-0. All right, and there are no comments from the public that I am aware of. So, down to 5.01, reports and presentation.
Wow.
Yeah,
Making good time.
we are.
All right. I want to talk to you a little bit about participating in a study with the University of Kansas and Arizona State University. As you know, last year we went through the MTSS process, and that was part of the research project with Arizona State University and the University of Kansas. So we finished that. We still will be working with the MTSS, Kansas MTSS folks for PD and to implement our program and so on. And as part of that, we had to select a screener that teachers will do on all of our students. And so there's a new part of that that includes internal and external behaviors. So we were asked to be part of this research study that would ask teachers to volunteer to take some of those questions, or take those questions and go further with them, give both universities more information about the students who will be unidentifiable, and will have consent from parents, and to do just a little bit more work with regards to the SRSS so that they can create cut scores. So I included some information about the purpose of the study and the criteria for selection and so on. And it's very straightforward. It benefits us in that we have more ownership of the screener. We have a better understanding of the screener, and we are provided more professional development. The downside is that it does take more time than simply doing the screener. All teachers will do the screener, but this extra piece of it for the research will be volunteer. So with that, I would entertain questions. The studies have been approved by both the IRB at Arizona State University and the University of Kansas. That's the International Review Board. So what we need today is questions from you, and then hopefully approval to go ahead with this study.
Do you know how many teachers may volunteer, or is there any indication?
I don't know. I suspect that there will be quite a few, just because it's a very interesting research study.
That was my question.
Okay.
Was
Do you
are we gonna have
anything,
buy-in? So
Brittany?
I'm just, for my own information, I'm curious, how many schools are they doing this with?
I believe we are the only one in Kansas. There are other schools in other states, but I don't know how many exactly. It's very difficult to get an entire district, as you know, because you were a member of that team. We were the only system there. Everybody else just had individual schools. So that's what makes us a little bit unique, and that's why they ask us. But I don't know how many schools altogether.
Okay. If not, then I would, no, this is just a report. We're not going to vote on it till next time, or do you need approval
If
now?
possible, it would be nice to have approval now because they would like to continue through their bureaucracy that they have to get through. So if the board feels comfortable, we'd like to have action this evening.
I
go ahead.
I motion that we approve it.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign. 4-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Strategic plan.
Strategic plan. Okay, well, thank you for your work on Saturday. I found that was very rich discussions and very helpful. So what I wanted to do this evening was just to buzz through a little bit and not bore you with what I already bored you with on Saturday. But what I did was I included the goals that you set on Saturday, and I've had some feedback since I posted this on board docs, and so I'll talk with administrators tomorrow. I'll talk with administrators tomorrow and maybe wordsmith a little bit. So just for the public, the first part of this is just the rationale for why we need a strategic plan in USD290. And then the mission statement has not changed. The mission statement is the same that has been the USD290 mission statement for a number of years. I don't know how long. Then the vision statement is the work that all of you did last year. If you recall last August, as part of a work session or a retreat, we worked through a process to define what it means to be college and career ready. So our vision is, okay, stop, that all students will be college and career ready. And we define that to mean to have the knowledge, skills, and behaviors to hold sustainable employment. So the next part of this, the core beliefs, you will recall on Saturday we called it core values. And so I highlighted in yellow what has changed since Saturday, and I want to explain why. We called it core values. Really, in the literature and in the research, core values and core beliefs are pretty much the same. And so as I went through that, these are the four that you identified. The first one, every member of the education community can learn, grow, and reflect. And that sounded more like a belief to me than just a value. And then community engagement. It sounded to me like it wasn't a complete thought. So I added, is critical to our district vision. Fiscal responsibility was another important belief or core value that you all talked about. So I finished that sentence with is essential. Trust and transparency was the fourth value or belief that the board felt like was critically important to identify. So when I put this together and I had one sentence and I had 3 phrases, it really bugged me. So I completed the sentence, called them values, and put in we believe, and then I named those 4 things, and I felt better about it. But that doesn't mean that that's how it has to be. This is a strategic plan that belongs to the board, it belongs to the district, and so I don't want to be the only one plugging in words. So I'm bringing this to you this evening, and I'll bring it back to you on the 14th of September so that you have some time to think about it. I'll work with administrators tomorrow on the parts that I have highlighted, just some thoughts about Does this identify what we talked about on Saturday? Are there additions or corrections that you feel should be made with regards to core beliefs or core values?
I don't think so. I think it sums it up pretty well.
And you certainly have time to think about this. I don't want to put anybody on the spot now because I think that, you know, you think about it and you look at it, and over time, other things come to mind. So we can certainly revisit this, excuse me, on September 14th.
Does it matter what order they're in?
You know, for me, as an obsessive compulsive personality, I like the most important one first, or put them in ABC order, but it's completely up to you. If you have an order that you prefer, I would be happy to do that.
And I probably am a little OCD also, but I would probably put 1, 4, 2, and then 3. Because I think trust comes before community engagement,
Okay.
doesn't it? I don't know, it's just me.
Mhm.
But
Other thoughts?
I'm sitting here looking visually, and I'm like, they should be in the length order.
And just
there's
as
medication for both of
just
us,
as a
so
side, Brittany, they were until I put in my words, and then it messed it all up.
That's how I look at things.
Other thoughts?
Well, the only thing I would say is, maybe reword number 4 to say transparency creates a culture of trust.
Oh, good. Okay.
Oh, that's
I
good.
like that.
I like that.
All right. Are there any other thoughts or ideas? I will make those changes and bring them back to you on the 14th. Guiding principles, we talked about those. Those guiding principles come from the visioning committee that we did during the work that our community and school staff did with regards to the bond issue. So I simply took those and plugged those into guiding principles. That's what we called them then. They are tried and true, and I feel like because they were put together by the community are very meaningful to all of us. The only one I added was team driven. I think that collaboration and teamwork is critically important, and I think that, as we talked on Saturday, that's something that whether it's said or not, we believe that it's really important. So then if you'll scroll down to strategic goals, the strategic goals come from the standards from our accreditation model, Advanced Ed. So the first goal is teaching and learning. And each school will identify their most important goal or objective, the indicator, and the result. This is a 3-year plan, so each year they will plug in their results for that particular objective. So in 2016, 17, and 18. And then we will completely reevaluate this plan. Not that we won't evaluate and revise it as we go along, but a complete overhaul. We need enough data to look at, so it'll be a 3-year plan. So if you'll scroll down a little more. So goal number 2 is governance and leadership, and this is the goal that we worked on Saturday. And so the original goal was worded a little bit differently, and it was that USD would have a plan for curriculum, instruction, and assessment that would be continually measured, analyzed, and refocused. Well, we have a plan. So I changed that a little bit just to talk about the plan. So the plan that we already created for curriculum, instruction, and assessment, including social and emotional skills. And we'll have a little bit of discussion about, on Saturday we talked about behavior. I've heard from a board member today that suggested another phrase. I'll talk with administrators tomorrow. It's likely to be something more in the lines of behavior and self-regulation, but we'll see. I think we need to have all the voices, all the ideas on the table. Will be continually measured, analyzed, and refocused. So that's goal number 1. And then you'll see that I have indicators there. And again, we'll go through a 3-year period of time and look back at that goal and revise it 3 years from now. And then the second goal for the Board of Education, if you'll scroll down, and we talked about this extensively, to ensure that all phases of the bond project are completed on time and on budget. And I named some of our possible indicators. So those are the 2 goals that we talked about and the core beliefs that we talked about on Saturday. So anything to add or change or think about with regards to either of the 2 goals?
Will this be, well, not in regards to our 2 goals, will this be completely filled out in 2 weeks?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the one thing that, when I've done strategic planning before, we've always assigned a responsible person.
Mm-hmm.
Is that somewhere in the document, or just to kind of, I don't know, it just sounds, at times can add more accountability. I don't know.
And I'm glad you asked that, because I didn't do that, because in my head it is the director or the administrator. So that's why I didn't, and I certainly can. I can add that person responsible.
It's however you're comfortable with it. If you're comfortable that it'll circle back around, because at times we've had initiatives begin and then not get circled back around to
True.
tie up that communication
true.
piece, or how we're going. Not necessarily recently, but in the past we have for sure. So,
And if that person should change, we certainly need to have that identified. So I appreciate that. Other thoughts?
nope. I'm looking forward to seeing what everybody's are.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Got great ideas. They know their places. So.
We'll bring this back to you for further discussion and possible approval on September 14th.
I just really like this and the way it's laid out, and I just think it's
Simple and
It's-
to the point.
simple to the point, but yet guided and good.
Good. Thank you.
So, yeah, I like it. This is not clearing out, okay. Are there any board reports?
I had an interesting time listening to the governor speak a couple Saturdays ago. He was talking to a graduating class for officer candidate school, and in his speech, he mentioned that as leaders, we need to take responsibilities for our actions and our inactions. So I just thought it was amusing to me, knowing the predicament that he has created, that he would make that kind of a comment.
And
So-
we appreciate both his action and his inaction.
Yeah,
We're people to live by.
that's right.
I attended the Reach for the Stars advisory board a couple weeks ago. And they've started for the year, and, kids are doing well, and things are going well. There will be some discussion. Well, there's always been some discussion, but there's going to be continued discussion about sustainability and funding and things like that. And I know that they mentioned that they will be looking for some board input as to what we want the program to look like in the coming years, because our grant is, I think, expiring after, So, and then with the the new building and the change of buildings, things like that. So there's just some stuff coming up in the next few years that they'll be wanting the board's input on, and things like that. So it's kind of exciting, but I think they're doing a great job over there, and my kids really like it. Kids get a lot out of it, so it's a great program. But it's been a lot of fun being on their board for the last few years. Now it's kind of in a different light, so it's an adjustment. But not just a parent, but also a school board member. But yeah, so that's just something to keep in mind that we'll want to be thinking about. So, and I start the Franklin County Leadership class this week.
You do?
I'm very excited about that. So I don't know. I think it'll be really good. There's some good people in that class, and so I'm excited to see what I get out of that as well. And they've never heard, what they tell me, it's been a long time since someone from the district's been in the class, I think, and so they're very excited about having somebody with the district.
Actually, I think myself and Ryan Collins were the last two.
So, and it's, I think, a lot different from when you were in it, because there's like different instructors now, and I already have homework. It hasn't even started yet. So, but yeah, so I'm excited about that.
Well, have fun. It's a good program.
It is a great
You'll learn
program.
a lot.
Yeah,
Learn a lot.
I'm very excited.
Okay, we have a resolution that we need to consider. Would you like to explain why we're doing this again?
Well, I'd like to, but I don't know. So, well, this is part of Senate Bill 7, and maybe Terry can jump in if I don't get this right. Part of Senate Bill 7 was that if your tax increase went above the 1.6% growth rate, then you had to publish in the newspaper the notice to vote. So because of our bond issue, our taxes went up a little bit more than the 1.6. So we did that, and we asked the board to approve that last meeting. Then last Friday afternoon, very late in the afternoon, bless his heart, Dale Dennis sent superintendents this panicked email about make sure you do this resolution too. I think this certainly hit us by surprise. And I think that probably there are 285 other districts in Kansas doing this evening, because it was never part of anything that we knew. So I apologize for that. Had we known, we certainly would have gotten it on last time. But the board needs to adopt this resolution with regards to our taxes. So.
Does it need to be read, or can we adopt it as printed?
I would read it just because I think.
Okay.
Okay, we're looking at you, Brian. You read the last.
Resolution number 41. Madam President, I move that we approve resolution number 41, a resolution expressing the property taxation policy of USD290 Ottawa with respect to financing the annual budget for 2015-16. Whereas KSA 79-2925B, as amended, provides that a levy of property taxes to finance the 2015-16 budget of USD290 exceeding the amount levied to finance the 2014-15 budget of USD290, as adjusted to reflect changes to the consumer price index of all urban consumers for the calendar year 2014, be authorized by a resolution. Now, therefore, be it resolved by USD290 that the 2015-16 budget with a levy of property taxes exceeding the amount levied in 2014-15 is adjusted pursuant of KSA 79-2925B, as amended, is hereby adopted. Adopted this 24th day of August 2015 by USD290 Franklin County, Kansas.
So,
Second.
there was a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Oppose? 4-0. Thank you, Brian, for doing that.
You're welcome.
And we also need to approve the negotiated agreement. The teachers on Friday approved, and
Overwhelmingly. So.
overwhelmingly. And it's our turn to do that. So I would like a motion to do that.
So moved.
Seconded.
Okay. Any further discussion on that? If not, yes, Brian, did you?
You know,
have
I'd just like
something?
to commend the negotiating team for the hard work that they put in, both from the teacher's side as well as myself, Bill, and Dr. Krause. Negotiations are never a fun or easy thing to do, but this year it went fairly seamless. And I'm grateful for the cooperation on both sides, because it shows, in my opinion, the professionalism of both the teaching staff and our board. So.
Yeah, I would like to thank you too, you and your team and and everyone and the teachers for doing such a good job this year. So,
Yeah.
okay, we have a motion and a second and a few little comments. So all in favor of approving the negotiated agreement, raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign. 4-0. Thank you very much. We also have on the agenda an approval of salary increases for staff. You have received that information as well.
So moved.
Seconded.
Any discussion about this?
I might just say the one thing that's a little bit different than has been in the past years. I know the board is aware of this, but just to make sure that the public is aware that in years past, classified employees have either taken a non-pay day or a sick day for emergency days like snow days and so on. And so what is proposed and being voted on is that that they receive a paid holiday for the first, third, and fifth day, either snow day or emergency day, just because we know that that makes it a little hard on families that of our classified employees, and so hopefully that'll be a little bit of a boost.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, a motion is second. All in favor of approving the salary increases for staff, raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign. 4-0, thank you very much. No executive session for either personnel or negotiations, but we do need to approve the personnel report. So I would entertain a motion to do so.
I move that we approve the personnel report.
Second?
Okay, any discussion? If not, all in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign. Okay, 4-0. And announcements.
I do have a few announcements. We'll have a community bond project update meeting here in this room next Monday evening, August 31st from 6 to 7. And that meeting will simply be just information about what has already happened and a little bit about the timeline, although our timeline is still a little bit elastic, I guess is a good way to say that. So I'll be giving that report, and the public is invited to come. We have some new stuff on our website. Josh Walker and his team put up a sign at 19th and Eisenhower this morning that shows the USD290 new elementary school. And so it's pretty exciting. And we will meet the architects and the district, and Lloyd Builder will meet with the city on Monday to start some of the site planning. This will be our second major meeting with the city, so we're pretty excited about that. And then we'll celebrate the Kansas Teacher of the Year candidates from USD290, Kelly Fisher and Laura Jenin, on Sunday, September 13th. So that's pretty exciting. There are open houses coming up, and the scrimmage at the high school is on Friday. So we're up and running. That's all I have.
Okay. Gonna start to get busy.
It is going to start to get busy. Yeah.
Well, Madam President, I make a motion we adjourn our meeting.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? If not,
I
all
would
in
vote
favor-
the other three members don't come back. If it's going to stay like this, I mean, you know. Never
All in
mind.
favor,
No, I'm just
raise
kidding.
your right hand. Opposed, same sign.
Look at that. See, before